It's time for our favorite game.
Hold 'em, or fold 'em. Welcome to the NFL.
Hold 'em or fold 'em, free agency style. This is the game where I will ask Tristan several different free agency moves. He will then tell me hold them or fold them. Hold them, meaning that he loves it. Fold them means out with the trash. After requesting a trade, Myles Garrett signs with the Cleveland Browns on a 4-year, $204.8 million with a $122.7 million guaranteed contract. Hold them or fold them?
Might be surprising you here, fold them. Here's why. Obviously, Myles Garrett, best edge rusher in the league, star player. When a player wants out, giving them bags of cash is only going to solve it for a minute. Myles Garrett was unhappy with the franchise. He wanted out because he did not see a path to winning, and he wants to win, as he enters the home stretch of his career, the back leg of his prime. Obviously, they threw enough money in front of his face where he said, all right, fine, I'll take it. I'm telling you, Ryan, I can see this backfiring in a year or two. I could see us being in the exact same situation where in a year or two, he's like, hey, I want out. Please trade me. I know you don't normally trade a guy like Myles Garrett, but when you're the Browns and you're saddled with that Deshaun Watson contract and your franchise is rotting from the inside, this was the opportunity. This was your chance to offload a great player and get a ton of capital and free up cap space. You're not going to win whether he's there or not. I think this is a mistake for Cleveland.
Folding for me too, man. I'm not going to give you my answer on every one of them, but especially this one because I think it's a lose-lose on both sides. Like the organization's not going to go any further. It's going to get more in quote-unquote cap debt,
I'm surprised Garrett took it. I really am.
That's the most surprising thing to me. It's like, because you had the opportunity to go and be on a very successful team and possibly make a Super Bowl run, because you're not going to with Deshaun Watson and the Browns.
Agreed. The only way this makes sense is if Garrett, this was always about money. I don't think it was, though, the way Garrett was talking. I think he really just didn't believe in the team, wanted to be on a winner. But if this whole time was just a ploy for him to get more money, then negate what I said, and then he got what he wanted. I don't think that's what this was, though. Before we continue with the video, please make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Tell your friends about it. We're trying to grow this channel. 2 idiots covering one sport. Subscribe so you feel better about your sports takes. Back to the video.
Josh Allen got paid 6-year, $330 million, $55 million per year from signing. I saw the breakdown where he makes like $100 a second or something stupid like that. It's insane. They cut Von Miller, which is a $15 million dead cap hit. They signed Greg Rousseau. They signed Khalil Shakir to a 4-year extension worth up to $60 million with $32 million guaranteed. And they also signed wide receiver Joshua Palmer for 3 years, $36 million. Hold him or fold him, Tristan, on all that.
Gotta hold them. This is the Bills. I've been critical of Brandon Beane, but these are the right moves. First off, the Josh Allen, not just a restructure. They ripped up the old contract, started fresh, had to. He was underpaid. I think you're going to see a similar thing probably happen with Patrick Mahomes and some other guys in the league. Definitely, if not that, you're going to see some restructuring. Josh Allen got what he deserved. Cutting Von Miller, probably the biggest, not cutting him, signing Von Miller, probably the biggest mistake of Brandon Beane's tenure, for sure.
Cutting him?
Cutting him, saving grace. I didn't like the move when they made it. It felt desperate. It ultimately played out that way. You cut him now, you cut your losses. Signing Greg Rousseau is the move right here because you know me. I've been high on Rousseau for years. I was like, that guy's going to be a star. I think he's a great player. He's a foundational piece to that defense. Shakir, another guy, a really solid, reliable receiver. You get him for a good price. I'm a little intrigued by the Joshua Palmer thing. Yeah. I don't really have much to say about it. I'm not expecting much for him. I could look at that and say, maybe that's a little much, but you got to find an improvement somewhere on the offense because Cooper wasn't doing it last year. I think this is the Bills just, making smart moves like they usually do.
Joshua Palmer is that menu item at a fancy restaurant that you don't really know what it is, but when it gets there and you eat it and you're satisfied, you're like, wasn't bad. That's exactly where Joshua Palmer is for me. Let's move on because I agree that is definitely a hold'em for me as well. Go Bills. The Bears traded for your beloved Joe Thuney from Kansas City and center Drew Dahlman, 3-year, $42 million to fix up their O-line for Caleb Williams. Hold'em or fold?
Hold'em, absolutely. You never know how an offensive coordinator is going to do as head coach. I've actually liked Ryan Poles, the GM for Chicago. The worst mistake he made was keeping Matt Eberflus last year. But Poles, he was one of Veach's guys. He came from Kansas City, was part of the Mahomes acquisition and all of that. Trading for Joe Thuney, a great move. Tooney's a little bit older. That's why Kansas City got rid of him, because they decided to keep Trey Smith. I understand the move there, but the Bears have to get Caleb Williams protection. We saw him running for his life last year. I'm skeptical on what we see from Williams, because I don't know if he's the kind of guy that will just stand in the pocket and deliver the football on time and through his progressions, but this is the first step to doing so. The Bears have a lot of money. They're trying to do it with a rookie quarterback. These are the moves you need to make. If you want to be successful, get the trenches right. We've seen it. We saw it in the Super Bowl. Offensive and defensive line, the Bears are doing that. These are smart moves.
Always comes down to the trenches. Your Kansas City Chiefs, signed former 49ers offensive tackle Jalen Moore to 2-year, $21 million guaranteed deal to protect Mahomes' blind side.
Yes, sir.
They needed that. Chiefs also signed guard Trey Smith to a franchise tag, $23.4 million. Probably working on a long-term deal there. And bring back Hollywood Brown, 1 year up to $11 million. And linebacker Nick Bolton, 3 years, $45 million. A lot of money there. You holding it or you folding it?
Feel like it's getting repetitive. Maybe we'll have some folds later, but right now I'm holding it because this is a hold 'em. I like all these moves. When I saw the news of them trading Joe Tooney, I freaked out for a minute. Don't go back and read the text. I was like, what the hell are they doing? Then I had a second to catch my breath and look at it and was like, okay, it makes sense, because we all thought that they wouldn't keep Trey Smith. We thought he was going to enter free agency. They did the right thing because Trey Smith's younger. They tagged him. They're probably going to work out a long-term deal. I would be lying if I said I have grinded Jalen Moore offensive tackle tape. PFF has him graded fairly well. I think this is a good move. After Ronnie Stanley signed back with the Ravens, I would rather have the youth and Moore. This is them, addressing left tackle. You've got Smith at right guard. You've got Humphreys at center. You've got Taylor at right tackle. The only question left for the Chiefs is left guard, which they think Suamatia or one of those guys they drafted can move into. Maybe Wanya Morris can play that position. So I like it. This is Brett Veach doing what he does, what's available to him. They're still going to probably take some people in the draft, even though I don't like the tackles. Hollywood Brown, love it. He got hurt. Most of the season was taken away from him. You were on this way before he got to Kansas City. He was starting to finally come into his own once he got to play. Bringing him back is great. And Nick Bolton, one of the best linebackers in the league, locking up the leader of the defense. These are all good moves. Brett Veach doing the usual.
Kind of no surprise there. Tampa Bay extends Chris Godwin's 3-year, $44 million guaranteed contract. They also sign Hassan Reddick to a 1-year, $12 million deal. Chris Godwin also got to keep in mind he's coming off that injury. ACL, MCL, he injured both. I don't remember which one was last, but he did both, and I think in the right knee. So is this a hold 'em or a fold 'em for you?
Definitely nervous with the Godwin injury, but I'm okay with them rolling the dice. I'm going to say hold 'em on Godwin.
He's a great slot receiver too.
He's a great receiver. We saw what he was able to do with Mike Evans. Obviously, getting up there in age. I don't know how I feel about this one. Initially, I'm okay with it. I could see this biting them if he's not able to return from that injury. Do you have his age off the top of your head?
29. He's 29 years old.
Signing a 29-year-old receiver to a 3-year, $44 million deal. I'm a little skeptical. I love Godwin, but I kind of talked myself into leaning fold him. But there's not a lot of options on the wide receiver market. Hassan Reddick, year $12 million, try to add some help. Okay.
Why not?
Nothing flashy. I think this is Tampa just trying to stabilize. So, I call. I'm not raising.
Yeah, Godwin had a great year up until the injury anyway, so it just worries me that it's a double injury, that scares me. But again, medicine's come a long way in the past few years with football, sports rehab, so I hope for the best for him. Tampa Bay needs him to play good football. The Chargers, they cut Joey Bosa. They bring back Khalil Mack on a 1-year, $18 million deal. They sign former Steelers running back Najee Harris to a 1-year deal up to $9.25 million. Hold him or fold him?
I'm going to do both. I'm going to hold him.
You can't do that.
Watch me.
Okay.
Cutting Joey Bosa. It's the right move. It sucks, but he is hurt all the time. He just doesn't play anymore. He's not the player he once was, never quite was the player that his brother Nick Bosa is. This is the right move. Yeah.
Hard living in the limelight of your brother.
Absolutely. The injuries are really what derailed Joey Bosa, though, because he was really good before the injuries started to stack up.
Sure.
Najee Harris, I like adding him because we know that Harbaugh is going to run the football, run. Najee Harris, not giving him too big a contract so he can come in and be, an element that can obviously take a lot of punishment, take a lot of hits, get a lot of carries. I think that'll work out. The one thing I'm a little skeptical on, and I lean fold on, is Khalil Mack. Not because I don't think he's a great player. I just wonder about the cap situation, bringing him back at his age on a 1-year, $18 million deal. Now, I'll just be honest, I don't have the cap situation in front of me. If getting rid of Mack would have taken a big cap hit, Chargers fans, let me know, then I'm okay with this. But if they could have moved on from Mack and saved that money, perhaps there's an argument to be made that would have been the right move, but nothing egregious here. These are all, relatively smart decisions.
Let me ask you this real quick, just on the running back thing, right? The running back room is now J.K. Dobbins, Najee Harris, Gus Edwards, and then you have Kamani Vidal, which a lot of people were kind of high up on coming out of the draft. So where do you see Najee fitting into this? Do you see him being the number 2 behind J.K. Dobbins, or do you see him and Gus kind of split that number 2 role? What do you think?
I feel like it's going to be a lot of rotation between those three and just kind of feeding the hot hand. It's
going to make fantasy awful for whatever running back it is, I believe.
It's like we saw last year, when injuries, pile up, it can affect the way they play. So I think this is just basically Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers covering their bases, making sure they have a reliable running game because their entire offense is built around that. You have to have it. I think this is, just a smart move. They've got enough money. It's not a big enough contract. It's a 1-year deal, stopgap, and you can draft someone. As you said, Vidal's young. We'll see what he can turn into. But this is just basically a good way to say you're getting yourself some depth at the position.
The Jacksonville Jaguars are trying to come off their wild roller coaster ride, and in efforts to do that, they signed wide receiver from the Commanders, Dyami Brown, to a 1-year, $10 million deal. Hold him or fold him.
I like Dyami Brown, but I do just kind of wonder about the way the Jaguars are allocating resources. I look at it and they kind of had to do something. Obviously, Brian Thomas Jr. is a stud. The big fold him is the Gabe Davis decision last season when they gave him too big of a contract. Adding Brown alongside Thomas Jr., I think, is a good move. You've got Strange at tight end, so I'm going to lean hold him because they had to have some help, but that offense is still a big question mark.
Yeah, I think I got to go hold him just because of Brown's talent, right? But I would go fold him on the Commander side if you're asking. I know you're not, but
that's a good point.
Why let him go? He was a great number 2, man. him and Terry were they were a dynamic duo. I think that's a bad move for the Commanders.
I think they assume Commanders, which we can go into this topic. We didn't have it on the script, but let's just throw it in there. The Commanders trading for Deebo Samuel. Let me throw it to you, Ryan. Hold him or fold him?
Oh, man. It's a hold 'em for me.
Really?
Yeah, because Deebo, okay, look, if you're going to get rid of Dyami Brown and you need a number 2 guy, Terry is your dude. He is a fantastic wide receiver.
Yes.
And him and Daniels just have a connection that you can't deny, especially that deep ball. It's beautiful. But if you're going to get rid of Brown, if this was the plan, which, by the way, I would argue that you should have kept Brown for this type of price as a number 3. But Deebo is going to be a fantastic number 2 guy. He is that kind of gadget player. He can do everything. So I think this is an ultimate win for the Commanders. I just wish they would have kept Dyami, man. I think he made himself a place on that team.
So I agree with you on Brown. I'm going to go the opposite way. I'm not stoked about the Deebo trade. I'm going to fold the Deebo trade from the Commanders' point of view. Because I think he's a gadget player. And
that's what I said.
I know. I'm skeptical on if the Commanders are going to use him in the proper way. I think his best days are behind him. We saw in the Super Bowl, again, a similar topic, he couldn't get any separation. Deebo Samuel was unable to do anything in that game against the Chiefs. I just don't look at him as a real dynamic receiver. I look at him as a, in the backfield running back playmaker. If they use him to that degree, that's fine. But you bring him in and lose Dyami Brown, who was starting to become a solid receiving threat. I don't know. I don't know if that's going to work out for the better for Washington.
Micah Parsons is up for a contract extension, and Dallas continues to drag their old Jerry Jones feet as the price just keeps skyrocketing. It's going to cost over $40 million a year. Is Dallas really contemplating trading Parsons? I would like to think not, but shouldn't this deal already be done? Hold him or fold him? How they're just operating under this unfortunate circumstance.
Yeah, this is an easy fold 'em in the way Dallas is handling this.
Do we expect anything less?
No.
My Lord.
No. We expect exactly this. This goes back to a conversation we had earlier in the episode talking about You pay your star players early. Every single team in the league, when they turn in a draft pick, they are praying he turns into half the player Micah Parsons is. You're praying that happens. Dallas has him. They extended Dak. They extended CeeDee Lamb. So now, and that's been the thing. People are like, no team has ever paid, quarterback, wide receiver, edge rusher, all three top of the market. I think the real decision, honestly, would have been if you were going to, I wouldn't have extended Dak, but if you were going to do that, I would have moved on from Lamb, re-signed Micah, and gone and gotten a wide receiver. You can get other really good receivers. I know Lamb's good. I'm not, downplaying his talent. I'm just saying you've only got so much cap space. They should have signed Micah Parsons the first moment they were able to, because it would have been cheaper. This is that same point. The more you let it go, just like we said with the Bengals and Chase, the more he's going to cost. And now you put yourself in a situation after the Crosby and Garrett deals, it's going to be an astronomical price. You could have done what Philly does and get out ahead of it, get him for cheaper, and now you're in a pickle. If they trade Micah Parsons, it really is just a death blow to that franchise, because that is the type of player you do not trade. That is the type of player you want to retire wearing your uniform.
He's on the DNT list, the do not trade.
Right.
On any team.
Hey, Ryan, call me. And my phone's ringing like you're a GM. Okay. Hello?
Yeah. This is the GM.
How can I help you?
I really don't know.
I didn't explain the bid.
No, you didn't. You just said that like you're a GM.
No.
I just said, all right. You tell me the friends for so long because I just don't question them.
That's awesome.
Sure.
All right. You're a GM calling the Cowboys about trading for Micah Parsons, okay?
Okay, I'm just a random GM.
From whatever team.
Inquire about Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah. Hello, this is the Cowboys.
Hey, this is Random GM. I'm looking into getting me a good defensive player. You got? I've heard about this Micah Parsons
Click.
boy. What
That's how that conversation goes. We don't entertain it.
It really should go that way, right?
Fold them. Ridiculous.
But unfortunately, Jerry says, yeah, I got him. What are we going to give me for him?
Jerry's like, which one is he? Shotty? Which one's Parsons?